All right. Got some rain sound going while rain's going on outside. There's a little tornado alert on the phone, so that was interesting. I was just looking up at the sky earlier too, maybe 5 minutes before. It's it looks like about the freaking pour. And then I heard my phone do the emergency services notification sounds, and there's a tornado in your area. So actually, let's look it up. Let's see if there is a tornado coming. And weather. Oops. Weather. Vancouver, Washington. No longer in effect. Yep. Cool. Looks like we're not having a tornado. We don't usually get them. Every once in a while they come down and they touch down a little bit, tear up a little bit of property, but it's never anything crazy here. It's not like Nebraska or Oklahoma or any of those states. So, but for the first time in my recent memory, maybe it's just because I stayed inside so much, but it's raining a lot. And I don't remember it raining this much for the last few years. So, all right, let's head to Jonathan Studio. I just want to figure out which section I'm on. Content. All right, so I'm on AV45. So the goal is to do 45. Let's go ahead and do daily goal. Let's go ahead and start that up. Nope, wrong one. Do the keep. This up. There. I'm going to have to come up with a better system. Daily log. Let's go ahead and add a drawing. This will be day one. So black will be what I label. Oops. I don't like that. I like my handwriting better. This feels smoother. This is going to be day one. Okay, so maybe that's what I should do. So just like weightlifting, you do different types of lifts every so often. You do different sets, different reps, and all that. And then once a week, we would do maxes. So maybe once a month, I should determine my max. So I like to set weekly baseline of week baseline. I should be able to make $700. So day goals. $100 to $130. Instacart. I need to stop thinking about time. Once I make the amount of money, I'm good. That's going to be 4+ deliveries per day. Honestly, I should invent. So I realized when I was going through my calendars, I was just kind of throwing things together. But I realized that the calendar is going to be most useful for whatever is going to be the dominant choices made in the lifestyle. So, so when the dominant lifestyle choice became the 9-to-5 traditional work week or work day, the schedule being changed to 7 days a week where you get a couple days off, that makes sense. Yeah, because I'm not trying that anymore. My days are going to have to be different. So creating a calendar for my needs. So time scales. So weekly, daily. I don't care about hourly. Maybe try monthly, so quarterly, yearly, 5 yearly. Let's just kind of see there, because that's actually, I wanted to do 5 years. That's what I said I was going to do, 5 years for my journey, trying to get my health back and stuff. So daily equals 4 Instacart deliveries or 125 per day. So, and I'll break that down. So 20 for gas, 5 for food, and 100 for bills. So basically, this is the average first delivery, average 3 to 4 delivery. Just kind of depends. Yeah, but that's pretty much how I have it. And in this way, I only have to go out 2 to 4 times per day, unless I do it all at once. So possibilities. Let's switch it to there. All right, hold on one cycle time. So I was going to eat dinner, but I think what I'm going to do is I need to wait and do at least 3, or at least one of the one reading. But the goal would be to be mostly fasted while doing these readings. So I could do all 5 for the day before eating dinner. I would really like to make that a habit. All right. So oh yeah, possibilities. 4 in a row, 3 in a row, plus 1, 2 in a row, plus 2 in a row, 2 in a row, plus 1, plus 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. All separate. You're looking at 4 hours per day. 4, 6 hours per day, depending on how big the orders are and where they take you. So the next goal, 125 per day, equals calculator at. 100. Month. 28 days. And I'll call that a month. And times 3, 10,500. 3 months. And 4. 40%. Yeah. And then, so that's going to be my calendar done, I think. My calendar is going to be 1 week, which is 7 days. And readings, 5 today. Today. And right now there's really no monetary gain. So, and then that's the baseline. Okay. So then let's build up the calendar. Calendar. Builder. So we have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, October, September, October, November, December. Where October 16 IRL equals then 1 shift. Okay, go ahead and hit up the calendar. One, 8, 9, actually it's called 28. March, again. $31, 30, 31, 30, 31. 31, 30, 31, 30, 31. It's 31, 30, 31, 30, 31. 31, 30, 31. So that means we're going to switch colors to blue. It's going to show you the first 38 days are going to be in January. So 28 plus 3 Then 3 plus 25 plus 3. And that goes there. And 28 plus 3. And 3 plus 29. Actually, here's what I'll do. This is what I'll do. This is actually this makes more sense. So 28 plus 3. 28. 28 plus 3. 28 plus 2. 28 plus 3. 28 plus 2. 28 plus 3. 28 plus 3. 28 plus 2. 28 plus 3. 28 plus 3. 2. 28 plus 3. So this will be days off if I want. And this is days on. And so this will be 28 times 12 for 336 work days, baseline days, and 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 29. 29 are in weekdays. 29 days that I can do whatever the fuck I want. 336 days where I really need to just get through with it. So we'll make that work. So today is January 1st according to my schedule. So gosh, dang it. NWT. That's my name time. Where 1600 PFT equals 0000 NWC. Let's actually make that cursive. Maybe cursive. I'll use cursive. That's what I'll do. Cursive will be used for my acronyms. That's why I'll use cursive. And I'll write my own way I like to write. Let's do purple. And N. B. N. B. Okay. Two G plus 1. Midday at 1600. Midday 0000. And then only cooking. True. There's a minute. Quarter. Meal. Or two. Plus, one rock star. Plus, or two. All right. And if I decide to eat some more, I'll eat some more, but that'll be just in addition to my goals. All right. And then today's Monday, so we'll say Wednesday. Let's set the goal later. I remember it. Okay, cool. All right, that's the plan for now. Let's go ahead and get into a Bible reading. Let's go ahead and back out of this. Exit. Oh, nope. Let's exit out of that. So I am on 2 Chronicles 30 to 36, and then Ezra 1 and 2. All right, let's read it. Bible. 2 Chronicles 30. Second Chronicles 30. Hezekiah sent word to all Israel and Judah, and even wrote letters to Ephraim. Actually, hold on. I'm going to use regular music real quick. It's the first one. This will help me really switch over. $22.52. Okay. All right. Let's do You the Bay. Let's do Dragon Age Inquisition music. And let's turn on the heater. All right, 2 Chronicles 30. Hezekiah sent word to all Israel and Judah, and even wrote letters to Ephraim and Manasseh to come to the house of Jehovah in Jerusalem to observe the Passover to Jehovah, the God of Israel. However, the king, his princes, and the whole congregation in Jerusalem decided to observe the Passover in the second month, for they had not been able to observe it at the regular time, because not enough priests had sanctified themselves, nor had the people gathered in Jerusalem. This arrangement seemed right in the eyes of the king and the entire congregation, so they decided to make an announcement throughout Israel, from Beersheba to Dan, that the people should come and observe the Passover to Jehovah, the God of Israel, at Jerusalem, for as a group they had not observed it according to what was written. Then the couriers went through all Israel and Judah with the letters from the king and his princes, as the king had commanded, saying, People of Israel, return to Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, so that he may return to the remnant who escaped out of the hands of the kings of Assyria. Do not be like your forefathers and your brothers who acted unfaithfully toward Jehovah, the God of their forefathers, so that he made them an object of horror, just as you are seeing. Now do not be obstinate like your forefathers. Submit to Jehovah and come to his sanctuary, that he has sanctified forever, and serve Jehovah your God, so that his burning anger may turn away from you. For when you return to Jehovah, your brothers and your sons will be shown mercy by their captors, and will be allowed to return to his lands. For Jehovah your God is compassionate and merciful, and he will not turn his face away from you if you return to him. So the couriers went from city to city throughout the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, even to Zebulun, but the people were making fun of them and mocking them. However, some individuals from Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. The hand of the true God was also in Judah to unite them, to carry out what the king and the princes had commanded by the word of Jehovah. A multitude of people gathered together at Jerusalem to observe the festival of unleavened bread in the second month. It was a very large congregation. They rose up and removed the altars that were in Jerusalem, and they removed all the incense altars and threw them into the Kidron Valley. Then they slaughtered the Passover sacrifice on the 14th day of the second month. The priests and the Levites felt ashamed, so they sanctified themselves and brought burnt offerings to the house of Jehovah. They took their customary places according to the law of Moses, the man of the true God. Then the priests sprinkled the blood received from the hand of the Levites. There were many in the congregation who had not sanctified themselves, and the Levites were in charge of slaughtering the Passover sacrifices for all who were not clean, to sanctify them to Jehovah. For a great number of people, especially those from Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar, and Zebulun, had not cleansed themselves, but they still ate the Passover, contrary to what is written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, May Jehovah, who is good, make allowance for everyone who has prepared his heart to search for the true God. Jehovah, the God of his forefathers, although he has not been purified according to the standard of holiness. And Jehovah listened to Hezekiah and pardoned the people. So the Israelites who were in Jerusalem observed the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days with great rejoicing, and the Levites and the priests were praising Jehovah day by day, loudly playing their instruments to Jehovah. Moreover, Hezekiah spoke to and encouraged all the Levites who served Jehovah with discretion, and they ate throughout the festival for 7 days, sacrificing communion sacrifices and giving thanks to Jehovah, the God of their forefathers. Then all the congregation decided to observe it for 7 more days. So they observed it for 7 more days with rejoicing. And King Hezekiah of Judah contributed for the congregation 1,000 bulls and 7,000 sheep, and the princes contributed for the congregation 1,000 bulls and 10,000 sheep, and priests were sanctifying themselves in great number. And all the congregation of Judah, the priests, the Levites, all the congregation that came from Israel, and the foreign residents who came from the land of Israel, and those living in Judah continued rejoicing. And there was great rejoicing in Jerusalem, for from the days of Solomon, the son of David, the king of Israel, nothing like this had happened in Jerusalem. Finally, the Levite priests stood up and blessed the people, and God heard their voice, and their prayer reached his holy dwelling in the heavens. 2 Chronicles 31. As soon as they had finished all of this, all the Israelites who were present went out to the cities of Judah, and they smashed the sacred pillars, cut down the sacred poles, and tore down the high places and the altars throughout Judah and Benjamin, as well as in Ephraim and Manasseh, until they had destroyed them completely, after which all the Israelites returned to their cities, each one to his own possession. Then Hezekiah appointed the priests in their divisions, and the Levites in their divisions, each of the priests and Levites for their service, for the burnt offerings and the communion sacrifices, to minister and to give thanks and praise in the gates of the courtyards of Jehovah. A portion of the king's own goods was given for the burnt offerings, including the morning and evening offerings, as well as the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths, the new moons, and the festivals, according to what is written in the law of Jehovah. Furthermore, he commanded the people living in Jerusalem to give the portion due the priests and the Levites, so that they might adhere strictly to the law of Jehovah. As soon as the order was issued, the Israelites gave in great quantities the first fruits of the grain, new wine, oil, and honey, and of all the produce of the fields. They brought in abundantly the tenth of everything. And the people of Israel and of Judah, living in the cities of Judah, also brought in the tenth of cattle and sheep, and the tenth of the holy things that were sanctified to Jehovah their God. They brought it in and put it in many heaps. In the 3rd month, they began laying their contributions in heaps, and in the 7th month they finished. When Hezekiah and the princes came and saw the heaps, they praised Jehovah and his people Israel. Hezekiah asked the priests and the Levites about the heaps, and Azariah, the chief priest of the house of Zadok, said to him, From the time they started bringing the contributions into the house of Jehovah, the people have been eating to satisfaction, and there is still an abundant surplus, for Jehovah has blessed his people, and this great plenty is left over. At this, Hezekiah told them to prepare storerooms in the house of Jehovah, so they prepared them. They kept faithfully bringing in the contributions, the tenth parts, and the holy things. Conaniah, the Levite, was put in charge of all this as supervisor, and his brother Shimei was second. Jahiel, Azaziah, Nahath, Asahel, Jeremoth, Josabad, Eliel, Ismachiah, Mahath, and Benaiah were commissioners assisting Conaniah and his brother Shimei by the order of King Hezekiah, and Azariah was supervisor of the house of the true God. And Korah, the son of Imnah, the Levite gatekeeper on the east side, was in charge of the voluntary offerings of the true God, and he distributed the contribution made to Jehovah and the most holy things. And under his discretion were Eden, Miniamin, Jeshua, Shemaiah, Amariah, and Shechaniah in the cities of the priests, and their office of trust to distribute equally to their brothers in the divisions, to great and small alike. This was in addition to the distribution made to the males from 3 years old and up, who were listed in the genealogical enrollment, who came daily to serve in the house of Jehovah and to carry out the duties of their divisions. The genealogical enrollment of the priests was by their paternal house, as was that of the Levites, who were 20 years old and up. By the duties of their divisions, the genealogical enrollment included all their children, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, their entire congregation, for they kept themselves sanctified for what was holy because of their office of trust, as well as the descendants of Aaron, the priests, who were living in the fields of the pastures surrounding their city. In all the cities, men had been designated by name to give portions to every male among the priests, and to everyone including in the genealogical enrollment of the Levites. Hezekiah did this throughout Judah, and he continued to do what was good and right and faithful before Jehovah his God. And every work that he undertook to search for his God, whether in connection with the service of the house of the true God or in the law and the commandment, he did wholeheartedly, and he was successful. 2 Chronicles 32. After these things and these acts of faithfulness, King Sennacherib of Assyria came and invaded Judah. He besieged the fortified cities, intent on breaking through and capturing them. When Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib had come and intended to wage war against Jerusalem, he decided, after consulting with his princes and his warriors, to stop up the waters of the springs outside the city, and they gave him their support. Many people were gathered together, and they stopped up all the springs and the stream that flowed through the land, saying, "Why should the kings of Assyria come and find plenty of water?" Furthermore, with determination, he rebuilt the entire broken-down wall and raised towers on it, and outside he made another wall. He also prepared the mount of the city of David, and he made a large number of weapons and shields. He then appointed military chiefs over the people and assembled them at the public square of the city gate and encouraged them, saying, "Be courageous and strong. Do not be afraid or be terrified because of the king of Assyria and all the multitude with him, for there are more with us than there are with him. With him is an arm of flesh, but with us is Jehovah our God to help us and to fight our battles." And the people were strengthened by the words of King Hezekiah of Judah. After this, while King Sennacherib of Assyria was at Lachish with all his imperial might, he sent his servants to Jerusalem, to King Hezekiah of Judah, and to all the Judeans of Jerusalem, saying, "This is what King Sennacherib of Assyria says: In what are you trusting that you remain in Jerusalem while it is besieged? Is it not Hezekiah misleading you and handing you over to die by famine and thirst, saying, 'Jehovah our God will rescue us from the hand of the king of Assyria'? Is this not the same Hezekiah who removed your gods' high places and his altars, and then said to Judah and Jerusalem, 'You should bow down before one altar, and on it you should make your sacrifices smoke'? Do you not know what I and my forefathers did to all the peoples of the lands? Were the gods of the nations of the lands able to rescue their land from my hand? Who among all the gods of these nations that my forefathers devoted to destruction was able to rescue his people from my hand, so that your God should be able to rescue you from this hit from my hand? Now do not let Hezekiah deceive you or mislead you like this. Do not put faith in him, for no God of any nation or kingdom was able to rescue his people from my hand and from the hand of my forefathers. How much less then will your own God rescue you from my hand?" His servants said even more against Jehovah, the true God, and against Hezekiah, his servant. He also wrote letters to insult Jehovah, the God of Israel, and to speak against him, saying, "Like the gods of the nations of the lands who could not rescue their people from my hand, so the God of Hezekiah will not rescue his people from my hand." They kept calling loudly in the language of the Jews to the people of Jerusalem who were on the wall, to make them afraid and to terrify them in order to capture the city. They spoke against the God of Jerusalem the same way as against the gods of the people of the earth, which are the work of man's hands. But King Hezekiah and the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amoz, kept praying about this and crying about to the heavens for help. Then Jehovah sent an angel and wiped out every mighty warrior, leader, and chief in the camp of king of Assyria, so that he went back to his own land in disgrace. He later entered the house of his God, and there some of his own sons struck him down with the sword. So Jehovah saved Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the hand of Sennacherib of Assyria, and from the hand of all others, and gave them rest on every side. And many brought gifts of Jehovah at Jerusalem, and choice things to King Hezekiah of Judah. And he was greatly respected by all the nations after that. In those days Hezekiah became sick and was at the point of death, and he prayed to Jehovah, who answered him and gave him a sign. But Hezekiah did not respond appreciatively to the good done to him, for his heart became haughty, bringing indignation against him and against Judah and Jerusalem. However, Hezekiah humbled himself for the haughtiness of his heart. He and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and Jehovah's indignation did not come upon them in the days of Hezekiah. And Hezekiah came to have vast riches and glory, and he made storehouses for himself, for silver, gold, precious stones, balsam oil, shields, and for all the desirable articles. He also made storage places for the produce of grain and new wine and oil, as well as stalls for all the different kinds of livestock and stalls for the flocks. He also acquired cities for himself and an abundance of livestock, flocks, and herds, for God gave him very many possessions. It was Hezekiah who stopped up at the upper source of the waters of Gihon and directed them straight down to the west of the city, to the city of David. And Hezekiah was successful in every work of his. However, when the spokesmen of the princes of Babylon were sent to ask him about the sign that had occurred in all the land, the true God left him alone to put him to the test, to get to know all that was in his heart. As for the rest of the history of Hezekiah and his acts of loyal love, they are written in the vision of Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, in the book of the kings of Judah and of Israel. Then Hezekiah was laid to rest with his forefathers, and they buried him in the ascent to the burial places of the sons of David, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem honored him at his death. And his sons Manasseh became king in his place. 2 Chronicles 33. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. One sec. After reading 3, I'm going to go ahead and turn the phone back on, but I got to find my phone first. Oh, there it is. So annoying. I have to keep freaking force resetting this. Okay. Stop. All right. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. He did what was bad in Jehovah's eyes when he became king, and following the detestable practices of the nations that Jehovah had driven out from before the people of Israel. He rebuilt the high places that his father Hezekiah had torn down. He set up altars to the Baals and made sacred poles, and he bowed down to all the army of the heavens and served them. He also built altars in the house of Jehovah, about which Jehovah had said, "In Jerusalem my name will be forever." And he built altars to all the army of the heavens in 2 courtyards of the house of Jehovah. And he made his own sons pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. He practiced magic, used divination, practiced sorcery, and appointed spirit mediums and fortune tellers. He did on a grand scale what was bad in Jehovah's eyes to offend him. He put the carved image that he made into the house of the true God, about which God had said to David and his son Solomon, "In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will permanently put my name, and I will never again remove the feet of Israel from the land that I assigned to their forefathers, provided they carefully observe all that I have commanded them. The entire law, the regulations, and the judicial decisions given through Moses. Manasseh kept leading Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem astray, causing them to do worse than the nations that Jehovah had annihilated from before the Israelites. Jehovah kept speaking to Manasseh and his people, but they paid no attention. So Jehovah brought against them the army chiefs and the king of Assyria, and they captured Manasseh with hooks and bound him with 2 copper fetters and took him to Babylon. In his distress he begged Jehovah his God for favor, and kept fumbling himself greatly before the God of his forefathers. He kept praying to him, and he was moved by his entreaty and heard his request for favor, and he restored him to Jerusalem to his kingship. Then Manasseh came to know that Jehovah is the true God. After this, he built an outer wall for the city of David, west of Gihon, in the valley, and as far as the fish gate, and he continued it around to Ophel, and he made it very high. Further, he appointed army chiefs in all the fortified cities in Judah. He then removed the foreign gods and the idol image from the house of Jehovah, and all the altars that he had built in the mountain of the house of Jehovah and in Jerusalem, and he began to throw them outside the city. He also prepared the altar of Jehovah and began to offer up communion sacrifices and thanksgiving sacrifices on it. And he told Judah to serve Jehovah, the God of Israel. Nevertheless, the people were still sacrificing on the high places, although only to Jehovah their God. As for the rest of the history of Manasseh, his prayer to his God, and the words of the visionaries who spoke to him in the name of Jehovah, the God of Israel, they are recorded in the history of the kings of Israel. Also his prayer and how his entreaty was granted him, all his sins and his unfaithfulness, the locations where he built high places and set up the sacred poles and the graven images before he humbled himself. They are written among the words of his visionaries. Then Manasseh was laid to rest with his forefathers, and they buried him at his house, and his son Amon became king in his place. Amon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 2 years in Jerusalem. And he continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, just as his father Manasseh had done. And Amon sacrificed to all the graven images that his father Manasseh had made, and he kept serving them. But he did not humble himself before Jehovah, as Manasseh his father had humbled himself. Instead, Amon greatly increased his guilt. Eventually his servants conspired against him and put him to death in his own house. But the people of the land struck down all those who conspired against King Amon, and they made his son Josiah king in his place. Second Chronicles 34. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 31 years in Jerusalem. He did what was right in Jehovah's eyes and walked in the ways of David his forefather. And he did not deviate to the right or to the left. In the 8th year of his reign, while he was still a boy, he started to search for the God of David his forefather. And in the 12th year, he started to cleanse Judah and Jerusalem of the high places and the sacred poles, the graven images, and the metal statues. Further, they tore down the altars of the Baals in his presence, and he cut down the incense stands that were up above them. He also broke into pieces the sacred poles, the graven images, and the metal statues, and reduced them to powder and sprinkled it over the graves of those who used to sacrifice to them. And he burned the bones of priests on their altars. Thus he cleansed Judah and Jerusalem. And in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, and clear to Naphtali and their surrounding ruins, he tore down the altars, and he crushed the sacred poles and the graven images, reducing them to powder. And he cut down all the incense stands and all the lands of Israel, after which he returned to Jerusalem. In the 18th year of his reign, when he had cleansed the land and the temple, he sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, Maaseiah, the chief of the city, and Joah, the son of Joahaz, the recorder, to repair the house of Jehovah his God. They came to Hilkiah, the high priest, and gave them the money that had been brought to the house of God, which the Levites, serving as doorkeepers, had collected from Manasseh, Ephraim, and all the rest of Israel, as well as from Judah, Benjamin, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Then they gave it to those who were appointed over the work in the house of Jehovah. In turn, the workers in the house of Jehovah used it to mend and repair the house. They gave it to the craftsmen and the builders to buy hewn stones and timbers for braces and to build with beams the houses that the kings of Judah had allowed to fall into ruin. And the men did the work faithfully. Over them were appointed the Levites, Jahath and Obadiah of the Merarites, and Zechariah and Meshullam of the Kohathites to serve as overseers. And the Levites, all of whom were skilled musicians, were in charge of the common laborers, and were overseers of all those who were doing the work in every kind of service. And some of the Levites were secretaries, officers, and gatekeepers. While they were taking out the money that had been brought to the house of Jehovah, Hilkiah the priest found the book of Jehovah's law given through Moses. So Hilkiah said to Shaphan, the secretary, I have found the book of the law in the house of Jehovah. With that, Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan. Then Shaphan brought the book to the king and told him, Your servants are doing everything that was assigned to them. They have poured out the money that was found in the house of Jehovah, and they have handed it over to the appointed men and to those doing the work. Shaphan the secretary also told the king, There is a book that Hilkiah the priest has given me. Then Shaphan began to read from it before the king. As soon as the king heard the words of the law, he ripped his garments apart. Then the king gave his order to Hilkiah, Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, Abdon, the son of Micah, Shaphan, the secretary, and Isaiah, the king's servant. Go inquire of Jehovah in my behalf and in behalf of those who remain in Israel and in Judah concerning the words of the book that has been found. For Jehovah's rage that will be poured out against us is great, because our forefathers did not carry out the word of Jehovah by observing all that is written in this book. So Hilkiah, along with those sent by the king, went to Huldah, the prophetess. She was the wife of Shallum, son of Tikvah, son of Harhas, the caretaker of the wardrobe, and she was dwelling in the second quarter of Jerusalem, and they spoke to her there. She said to them, This is what Jehovah the God of Israel says. Tell the man who sent you to me, This is what Jehovah says. I will bring calamity on this place and its inhabitants. All the curses that are written in the book that they read before the king of Judah, because they have abandoned me and are making sacrifices, smoke to other gods in order to offend me, with all the works of their hands, my rage will pour out on this place and will not be extinguished. But to the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of Jehovah, this is what you should say to him. This is what Jehovah the God of Israel says, regarding the words that you have heard. Because your heart was responsive, you humbled yourself before God on hearing his words concerning this place and its inhabitants, and you humbled yourself before me and ripped your garments apart and wept before me. I also have heard you, declares Jehovah. That is why I will gather you to your ancestors, and you will be laid to your grave in peace. And your eyes will not see all the calamity that I will bring on this place and its inhabitants. Then they brought the reply to the king. So the king sent word and summoned all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. After that, the king went up to the house of Jehovah with all the men of Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests, the Levites, all the people, the great as well as the small. He read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant that had been found in the house of Jehovah. The king stood in his place and made a covenant before Jehovah. Oh, here we go. Got some orders. See if there's anything good. Let's do that one. It's $42. It's a bit of a drive, though. So you navigate. So it's going to be, how far is it? 10 miles? 6 miles? So it's 6 miles there, plus 13. So what is that, 30 miles total, roughly? No, about 40. So that's about $15 in gas. I can make that work. All right. I'm going to reread this part. Then they brought the reply to the king. So the king sent word and summoned all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. After that, the king went up to the house of Jehovah with all the men of Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests, the Levites, all the people, the great as well as the small. He read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant that had been found in the house of Jehovah. The king stood in his place. Okay, let's drop that. Right, so the king stood in his place and made a covenant before Jehovah that he would follow Jehovah and keep his commandments, his reminders, and his regulations with all his heart and with all his soul by carrying out the words of the covenant that were written in this book. Furthermore, he had all those who were in Jerusalem and Benjamin to agree to it. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem acted according to the covenant of God, the God of their forefathers. Josiah then removed all the detestable things out of all the lands that belonged to the Israelites, and he made everyone in Israel serve Jehovah their God. Throughout his lifetime, they did not deviate from following Jehovah, the God of their forefathers. And let's go ahead and stop now at 2 Chronicles 35 so I can go do that delivery. All right, let's get back to it. Oops. Let's pause that. Let's go ahead and hit rain up again. There we go. So I just got done with that Instacart. I made another 42 bucks. I ended up making about 112 for the day. Now that I have an idea of what my schedule is going to be, tomorrow I'll hit that one. I'll hit a little bit over. I'll hit 150 tomorrow. And I'll do up to 6 deliveries. Or more. We'll see. Oh, man. All right, so before I eat, it's 7:30. I'd like to eat a little bit later since I stay up later now. I'm thinking read through 3 to see where I'm at. And then from there, if I feel like reading some more, I'll read some more. I'm going to hold off on showering tonight. I've been taking showers. I took 2 showers yesterday, so I didn't sweat at all. So I'm just going to hold off. Tomorrow morning, I'd like to try to take a cold shower. We'll see how that goes. Every time I say I'm going to do it, I don't. But I would like to. And I just need to get myself motivated enough to do it. So now that my sleep might be better, we'll see how it goes. But so let's go ahead and finish this one. And then we'll go from there. Okay. 2 Chronicles 35. Josiah held a Passover to Jehovah in Jerusalem, and they slaughtered the Passover sacrifice on the 14th day of the first month. He assigned the priests to their duties and encouraged them to carry out their service of the house of Jehovah. Then he said to the Levites, the instructors of all Israel, those who were holy to Jehovah, put the holy ark in the house that Solomon, the son of David, the king of Israel, built. You are no longer to carry it on your shoulders. Now serve Jehovah your God and his people Israel, and prepare yourselves by your paternal houses according to your divisions, following what was written by King David of Israel and by his son Solomon. Stand in the holy place grouped by the paternal houses of your brothers, the rest of the people, with a corresponding group of the paternal house of the Levites. Slaughter the Passover sacrifice and sanctify yourselves and make preparation for your brothers to carry out the word of Jehovah through Moses. Josiah contributed flocks to the people, male lambs and young male goats for the Passover sacrifices for all who were present, a total of 30,000, as well as 3,000 cattle. These were from the king's own property. His princes also made a contribution as a voluntary offering for the people, the priests, and the Levites. Hilkiah, Zechariah, and Jehiel, the leaders of the house of the true God, gave to the priests 2,600 Passover sacrifices and 300 cattle. Conaniah and his brothers Shemaiah and Nethanel, along with Hashabiah, Jael, and Jozabad, the chiefs of the Levites, contributed to the Levites 5,000 Passover sacrifices and 500 cattle. The service was prepared, and the priests stood at their places, and the Levites by their divisions, as the king had commanded. They slaughtered the Passover sacrifices, and the priests sprinkled the blood they received from them, while the Levites were skinning the animals. Next, they prepared the burnt offerings so as to distribute them to the rest of the people, who were grouped by paternal house, so that they could be presented to Jehovah as it was written in the book of Moses, and they did the same thing with the cattle. They cooked the Passover offering over the fire according to the custom, and they cooked the holy offerings in pots, cauldrons, and pans, after which they brought it quickly to all the rest of the people. Then they made the preparations for themselves and for the priests, because the priests, the descendants of Aaron, were offering up the burnt sacrifices and the fat pieces until nightfall. So the Levites made preparations for themselves and for the priests, the descendants of Aaron. And the singers, the sons of Asaph, were at their positions by the commandment of David, Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun, the visionary of the king, and the gatekeepers were at the different gates. There was no need for them to leave their service, because their brothers, the Levites, made preparations for them. So all the service of Jehovah was prepared on that day to hold the Passover, and to offer up the burnt offerings on the altar of Jehovah, according to the order of King Josiah. The Israelites who were present held the Passover at that time and the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days. There had never been held a Passover like it in Israel since the days of Samuel the prophet, nor had any of the other kings of Israel held a Passover like that held by Josiah. The priests, the Levites, all Judah and Israel who were present, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. This Passover was held in the 18th year of Josiah's reign. After all of this, when Josiah had prepared the temple, King Necho of Egypt came to... I haven't had a spasm in my jaw for a while. Of Egypt came up to fight at Carchemish by the Euphrates. Then Josiah went out against him. So he sent messengers to him, saying, "What does this have to do with you, O king of Judah? I am not coming against you today, but my fight is against another house. And God says that I should hurry. For your own sake, refrain from opposing God who is with me, or he will bring you to ruin." However, Josiah would not turn away from him, but he disguised himself to fight against him, and would not listen to the words of Necho, which were from the mouth of God. So he came to fight in the plain of Megiddo. And the archers shot King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, "Get me out of here, for I am severely wounded." So his servants took him out of the chariot, and had him ride in his second war chariot, and brought him to Jerusalem. Thus he died and was buried in the tomb of his forefathers, and all Judah and Jerusalem mourned Josiah. And Jeremiah chanted over Josiah, and all the male and female singers keep singing about Josiah in their dirges, down to this day. And a decision was made that they should be sung in Israel, and they are written among the dirges. As for the rest of the history of Josiah and his deeds of loyal love, in keeping with what is written in the law of Jehovah, and what he did from beginning to end, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and of Judah. Second Chronicles 36. Then the people of the land took Josiah, son of Jehoahaz, and made him king in Jerusalem in place of his father. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. However, the king of Egypt deposed him in Jerusalem and fined the land 100 silver talents and a gold talent. Furthermore, the king of Egypt made Jehoahaz's brother Eliakim king over Judah and Jerusalem, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. But Necho took his brother Jehoahaz and brought him to Egypt. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. He continued to do what was bad in the eyes of Jehovah his God. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came up against him in order to bind him with 2 copper fetters to take him off to Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar took some of the utensils of the house of Jehovah to Babylon, and put them in his palace in Babylon. As for the rest of the history of Jehoiakim, the detestable things that he did, and what was found against him, It is written in the book of the kings of Israel and of Judah, and his son Jehoiakim became king in his place. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. And he continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes. At the start of the year, King Nebuchadnezzar sent to have him brought to Babylon, along with the valuable articles of the house of Jehovah. And he made his father's brother Zedekiah king over Judah and Jerusalem. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. He continued to do what was bad in the eyes of Jehovah his God. He did not humble himself before the prophet Jeremiah, who spoke at the order of Jehovah. He also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him take an oath by God, and he remained stubborn and hard-hearted, and refused to turn to Jehovah, the God of Israel. All the chiefs of the priests, as well as the people, were exceedingly unfaithful, practicing all the detestable things of the nations, and they defiled the house of Jehovah that he had sanctified in Jerusalem. Jehovah, the God of their forefathers, kept warning them by means of his messengers, warning them again and again, because he felt compassion for his people and for his dwelling place. But they kept ridiculing the messengers of the true God, and they despised his words and mocked his prophets, until the rage of Jehovah came up against his people, until they were beyond healing. So he brought against them the king of the Chaldeans, who kills their young men with the sword. In the house of their sanctuary, he felt no compassion for young man or virgin, old or infirm. God gave everything into his hand, all the utensils of the house of the true God, great and small, as well as the treasures of the house of Jehovah and the treasures of the king and his princes, everything he brought to Babylon. He burned down the house of the true God, tore down the wall of Jerusalem, burned all its fortified towers with fire, and destroyed everything of value. He carried off captive to Babylon those who escaped the sword, and they became servants to him and his sons until the kingdom of Persia began to reign, to fulfill Jehovah's words spoken by Jeremiah, until the land had paid off its Sabbaths. All the days it lay desolate, it kept Sabbath to fulfill 70 years. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, in order that Jehovah's words spoken by Jeremiah would be fulfilled, Jehovah stirred the spirit of King Cyrus of Persia to make a proclamation throughout his kingdom, which he also put in writing, saying, "This is what King Cyrus of Persia says. Jehovah, the God of the heavens, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he has commissioned me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Whoever is there among you of all his people, may Jehovah his God be with him, and let him go up." End of 2nd Chronicles. And that is the end of row 1 of 5 of all of the Bible books. That is exciting. I haven't read this much in a long time. I'm so happy that I've managed to get this far. Let's keep going. Ezra! I think it's first 2 chapters. Yep. Let's go ahead and put that there. Ezra, chapter 1. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, in order that Jehovah's words spoken by Jeremiah would be fulfilled, Jehovah stirred the spirit of King Cyrus of Persia to make a proclamation throughout his kingdom, which he also put in writing, saying, "This is what King Cyrus of Persia says. Jehovah, the God of the heavens, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he has commissioned me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Whoever there is among you, of all his people, may his God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and rebuild the house of Jehovah, the God of Israel. He is the true God, whose house was in Jerusalem. Anyone who is residing as a foreigner, wherever he may be, let him be helped by his neighbors, by their giving him silver and gold, goods and livestock, along with the voluntary offering for the house of the true God, which is in Jerusalem." Then the heads of the paternal houses of Judah and of Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, everyone whose spirit the true God had stirred, prepared to go up and rebuild the house of Jehovah, which was in Jerusalem. All those around them supported them by giving them utensils of silver and of gold, goods, livestock, and valuable things, besides all the voluntary offerings. King Cyrus also brought out the utensils of the house of Jehovah that Nebuchadnezzar had taken from Jerusalem and had put in the house of his God. King Cyrus of Persia brought them out under the supervision of Mithredath, the treasurer, who made an inventory of them for Sheshbazzar, the chieftain of Judah. Now this was the inventory: 30 basket-shaped vessels of gold, 1,000 basket-shaped vessels of silver, 29 replacement vessels, 30 small gold bowls, 410 silver bowls, 1,000 other utensils. All the utensils of gold and silver were 5,400. Sheshbazzar brought all these up when the exiles were brought out of Babylon to Jerusalem. Ezra 2. And those were the people of the province. These were the people of the province who came up from the captives of the exile, those whom King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had exiled to Babylon, and who later returned to Jerusalem and Judah, each to his own city. Those who came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, Realiah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispar, Bigvai, Rehum, and Baanah. The number of the Israelite men included the sons of Parash, 2172, the sons of Shephatiah, 372, the sons of Arah, 775, the sons of Pahath Moab, of the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2812, the sons of Elam, 1254, the sons of Zatu, 945, the sons of Zakkai, 760, the sons of Bani, 642, the sons of Babai, 623, the sons of Azgad, 1222, the sons of Adonikam, 666, the sons of Bigvai, 2056, the sons of Aden, 454, the sons of Ater, of Hezekiah, 98, the sons of Bezai, 323, the sons of Jorah, 112, the sons of Hashum, 223, the sons of Gibar, 95, the sons of Bethlehem, 123, the men of Netophah, 56, the men of Anathoth, 128, the sons of Asmaveth, 42, the sons of Kiriath Jearim, Chephirah and Beeroth, 743, the sons of Ramah and Geba, 621, the men of Mikmas, 122, the men of Bethel and Ai, 223, the sons of Nebo, 52, the sons of Magbish, 156, the sons of the other Elam, 1254, the sons of Harim, 320, the sons of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 725, the sons of Jericho, 345, the sons of Senaa, 3630. The priests, the sons of Jediah, of the house of Jeshua, 973, the sons of Immer, 1052, the sons of Pashur, 1247, the sons of Harim, 1017. The Levites, the sons of Jeshua and Kadmiel, of the sons of Hodaviah, 74, the singers, the sons of Asaph, 128, the sons of the gatekeepers, the sons of Shalom, the sons of Ater, the sons of Talmon, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hetiah, the sons of Shobai, altogether 139. The temple servants, the sons of Ziha, the sons of Hasupha, the sons of Tabath, the sons of Keros, the sons of Siaha, the sons of Padon, the sons of Lebanah, the sons of Hagabah, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hagab, the sons of Salmai, the sons of Hanan, the sons of Giddel, the sons of Gehar, the sons of Reiah, the sons of Rezin, the sons of Nekoda, the sons of Gazam, the sons of Uzzah, the sons of Paseah, the sons of Besai, the sons of Asna, the sons of Meunim, the sons of Nehusim, the sons of Bakbuk, the sons of Hakupha, the sons of Harhur, the sons of Basla, the sons of Mahida, the sons of Harsha, the sons of Barkos, the sons of Sisera, the sons of Tema, the sons of Neziah, the sons of Hatipha, the sons of the servants of Solomon, the sons of Sotai, the sons of Sophereth, the sons of Peruda, the sons of Jaala, the sons of Darkon, the sons of Giddel, the sons of Shephatiah, the sons of Hatil, the sons of Hakareth Hazabbaim, the sons of Ami. All the temple servants and all the sons of the servants of Solomon were 392. And these went up from Telmelah, Telharsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer, but they were unable to verify their paternal house and their origin as to whether they were Israelites. The sons of Deliah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 652, and of the sons of the priests, the sons of Habiah, the sons of Hakaz, the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife from the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These looked for their records to establish their genealogy, but they did not find them, so they were disqualified from the priesthood. The governor told them that they could not eat from the most holy things until there was a priest who could consult the Urim and the Thummim. The total number of the entire congregation was 42,360. Apart from their male and female slaves, who were 7,337, they also had 200 males and female singers. Their horses were 736, their mules were 245, their camels 435, their donkeys 6720. When they arrived at the house of Jehovah in Jerusalem, some of the heads of the paternal houses made voluntary offerings for the house of the true God, to rebuild it on its own site. According to their means, they gave to the project treasury 61,000 gold drachmas, 5,000 silver minas, and 100 robes for the priests. And the priests, the Levites, some of the other people, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the temple servants settled in their cities, and all the rest of Israel settled in their cities. End of AV45.